What if I told you the reason your life isn't where you want it to be has nothing to do with talent, luck, or even opportunity? What if the real reason is that you keep waiting for the right time, waiting until you feel ready, waiting until motivation shows up and carries you into action? Let me tell you something, that day never comes. Motivation is not a visitor. It's not going to knock on your door, tap you on the shoulder and say, I'm here, let's go. Motivation is born the moment you move, the moment you force yourself to do the thing you don't want to do. Think about the mornings when the alarm goes off and your body screams at you to stay in bed. You don't feel like getting up. You don't feel like facing the cold, the work, the challenge ahead. And yet, the second you force yourself to put 2 feet on the floor, you've already won. That small act, that tiny push, is the proof that you don't need to wait to feel like it. You just need to act. The truth is, the gap between the life you want and the life you have isn't as big as you think. It's just one choice, one single moment when you override the excuses, silence the doubts, and move anyway. Because the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is not brilliance. It's not money. It's not luck. It's the decision to act when everything inside of them says. So ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to wait? How many more opportunities are you going to let slip by because you didn't feel like it? Your future is watching. Your future is waiting, and it will only belong to you the second you stop negotiating with your feelings and start forcing yourself to do the work. You will never always feel like doing the things you need to do. That is a truth most people don't want to hear because we love the illusion that motivation will carry us through. But the harsh reality is that if you rely on your feelings to guide your actions, you will stay stuck exactly where you are. Feelings are fleeting. They change with your mood, with your environment, with the smallest discomfort. One minute you're fired up, and the next you're tired, distracted, or tempted by something easier. Discipline is what carries you forward when feelings collapse. Discipline is what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. Think about it. How many times have you said to yourself, I'll do it later, or I'll start tomorrow? That delay always feels harmless in the moment. But what is it really? It's your feelings convincing you to put comfort before progress. It's your emotions telling you that rest is more important than growth, that ease is safer than effort. And yet, every time you give in, you train your mind to obey weakness instead of strength. Every time you choose comfort, you reinforce the habit of avoiding the very thing that could change your life. Discipline is the antidote to that cycle, because discipline doesn't ask if you feel like it. Discipline demands action regardless of how you feel. The most successful people you admire are not superheroes. They do not wake up every morning with endless motivation coursing through their veins. They wake up like you do, sometimes tired, sometimes distracted, sometimes doubting themselves. The difference is that they act anyway. They show up when it's inconvenient. They work when it's boring. They keep promises to themselves when no one is watching. That is discipline. It is not glamorous, and it is not easy, but it is the foundation of every achievement worth having. Consider a soldier who trains day after day not because he feels like it, but because he has made a commitment to be ready for whatever comes. Or an athlete who pushes through the last repetition even when their muscles scream for relief. Or a student who sits down to study while everyone else goes out to have fun. These are not acts powered by feeling, they are powered by discipline. And when the day comes that challenge knocks on their door, they are prepared. Not because they wanted to be, but because they forced themselves to be. Feelings are like the weather. They shift constantly. Discipline is like the mountain that doesn't move, no matter how the storm rages around it. If you live your life based on feelings, your progress will be as inconsistent as the weather. One good day, one bad day, one step forward, 2 steps back. But when you live by discipline, you create consistency. You show up even when it's hard, and over time, that consistency builds habits. Habits shape identity, and identity defines your future. There will be days when the weight of your excuses feels unbearable. Days when the voice in your head whispers, just skip it this once, it won't matter. But here's the truth, it always matters. Every single time you choose discipline over feelings, You are casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. You are saying, I don't let temporary emotions decide my permanent future. And those votes add up. Day after day, they build a version of you that is stronger, tougher, more capable, and more trustworthy to yourself. The cost of living by feelings is regret. Think about all the opportunities missed because someone didn't feel like showing up. Think about all the health lost because someone didn't feel like exercising. Think about the businesses never built, the books never written, the skills never mastered, all because feelings got in the way. Discipline is freedom from regret because it ensures you are doing the work today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow. Ask yourself right now, what is one thing you know you need to do, but you've been avoiding because you don't feel like it? Maybe it's starting that project. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation. Maybe it's committing to your health. Maybe it's finally chasing the goal that's been haunting you for years. Whatever it is, feelings will never push you into it. You have to force yourself. You have to decide that your future matters more than your comfort in this moment. Discipline is like a muscle. It grows stronger the more you use it. The first time you override your feelings, it will be hard. The second time, still hard. But each time you prove to yourself that you can act without permission from your emotions, you gain power. Soon, the habit of discipline takes over, and what once felt impossible becomes automatic. That's when you realize discipline is not punishment. It is liberation. It is the key to unlocking every single dream you've been carrying inside of you. So stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect time, or the perfect circumstances. They don't exist. What exists is this moment, right now, and the choice you have to make. Will you surrender to your feelings? Or will you command them with discipline? Because one of those paths leads to stagnation and the other leads to transformation, and the choice has always been yours. When you think about the goals you want to achieve, the dreams you hold inside of you, they often feel massive, almost overwhelming. You look at the distance between where you are now and where you want to be, and it feels like standing at the bottom of a mountain, staring up at a peak, hidden in the clouds. That's where most people stop. They freeze, they never take the first step, because the whole journey looks too intimidating. But the truth is, you don't climb a mountain in one leap. You climb it one small, deliberate step at a time. And those small steps are where resistance loses its power. Resistance is strongest right at the beginning. It's that heavy feeling in your chest before you start a workout. It's the hesitation before you sit down to write. It's the excuses you make when you know you should study, practice, or build something, but instead you reach for distractions. Resistance thrives on your hesitation. It grows stronger the longer you delay. But the moment you take action, even the tiniest action, resistance starts to crumble. That's the secret. You don't need to move mountains today. You just need to take the smallest step forward, and that step has the power to shift everything. Think about the power of just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of exercise when you don't feel like moving. 5 minutes of reading when you'd rather scroll through your phone. 5 minutes of working on your idea when every excuse tells you it won't matter. What happens in those 5 minutes? Momentum. And momentum is a force stronger than resistance. Because once you start, you often find yourself continuing. That 5 minutes turns into 10, then into 30, then into a full session. What once felt impossible now feels natural. And it all started with something so small, you couldn't talk yourself out of it. This is how you break the cycle of procrastination. Procrastination is nothing more than fear dressed as comfort. You delay because you imagine the whole journey at once, and it paralyzes you. But when you shrink the task down to something you can do right now, resistance has no room to argue. It's hard to justify avoiding 5 minutes. It's hard to argue against taking one small action. And when you do, you build momentum that carries you into the work you once thought you couldn't handle. Imagine someone who wants to run a marathon, but has never jogged a mile. If they focus only on the 26 miles ahead, they will never even lace up their shoes. But if they decide, I'll just jog for 5 minutes, suddenly it feels possible. And that small start is what leads to the next mile, then the next, until one day they're crossing the finish line. The same principle applies to anything you want to achieve: fitness, career, relationships, personal growth. The smallest step forward today is worth more than the perfect plan you never act on. The brain craves comfort, but it also craves progress. That's why small wins are so powerful. When you take that small step, your brain releases a spark of satisfaction. That spark builds motivation. And the more you accumulate those little wins, the more your brain starts to crave the act of moving forward instead of avoiding it. Suddenly you're not forcing yourself anymore. You're being pulled by momentum. That's the hidden beauty of small steps. They create a psychological shift that makes the impossible feel possible. You don't need to transform your life overnight. You don't need to conquer everything in one giant push. You just need to keep showing up inch by inch, day by day. Think of water carving through stone. One drop doesn't seem powerful. 10 drops don't seem powerful. But millions of drops consistently falling in the same place will cut through solid rock. That's what small, consistent actions do. They wear down resistance until what once felt unbreakable begins to move. There will always be a voice inside telling you that small steps don't matter. That voice will say, 5 minutes won't change anything. 1 page won't make you an author. 1 workout won't make you strong. And that voice is lying to you, because 5 minutes is everything. 1 page is everything. 1 workout is everything. Not because they transform you instantly, but because they prove you are capable of starting. They prove you are stronger than the resistance that tried to stop you. Think about it this way. Every great achievement in history began with one small action. Every masterpiece started with a single brushstroke. Every skyscraper began with 1 brick. Every movement that changed the world started with 1 decision, 1 step, 1 act of courage. So why would your journey be any different? You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. The mountain in front of you may feel impossible right now, but if you take 1 small step today, and another tomorrow, and another the day after that, something remarkable happens. You look back, and you realize you're no longer at the bottom. You're higher than you thought possible. And the peak doesn't look so far anymore. That is the power of small steps. They transform impossible into inevitable. So the next time you feel paralyzed by the size of your goal, don't ask yourself how you'll do it all. Ask yourself, what can I do right now? What is the smallest step I can take today? And then do it. Do it without hesitation. Do it knowing that every small step is breaking resistance, building momentum, and bringing you closer to the life you want. Because in the end, it's not the giant leaps that change your life. It's the relentless small steps that never stop moving you forward. The comfort is seductive. It whispers in your ear that you've earned a break, that you deserve to relax, that tomorrow is a better day to start. Comfort convinces you that staying where you are is safer than reaching for something greater. It tells you the couch is warmer than the gym, that scrolling your phone is easier than facing your work, that silence is easier than confronting a difficult truth. And in the moment, it feels so harmless. But over time, comfort becomes the most dangerous trap you can fall into, because it steals your potential slowly, quietly, without you even realizing it's happening. Think about it. Comfort zones are called that for a reason. They are safe, predictable, and familiar. But nothing extraordinary has ever been created inside a comfort zone. Growth requires pressure. Progress requires discomfort. Strength is forged in resistance, not ease. The people who rise above average are not the ones who chose the path of least resistance, but the ones who were willing to be uncomfortable longer than everyone else. Comfort is the enemy because it keeps you stuck in what you already know, instead of discovering what you're truly capable of. The human brain is wired for survival, not greatness. Your instincts want you to conserve energy, avoid pain, and stick to the familiar. That's why it feels so hard to step into discomfort. Your biology is fighting against it. But here's the paradox. In the modern world, survival is easy. Food, shelter, entertainment, and distractions are everywhere. So if you let comfort run your life, you will survive, but you will never thrive. Thriving requires you to override that primal instinct and choose the harder path. It requires you to deliberately step into situations that stretch you, challenge you, and sometimes even scare you. Look at anyone who has accomplished something meaningful. The athlete who pushes through grueling training sessions. The entrepreneur who risks failure again and again. The student who sacrifices nights out to pursue mastery. None of them chose comfort. They chose growth, and growth feels uncomfortable. It feels like doubt. It feels like sweat. It feels like sacrifice. But that discomfort is the sign that you're moving forward. If you're too comfortable, it means you're not growing. It means you're not demanding more of yourself than yesterday. Comfort lulls you into thinking you have time. It tells you that you can wait, that opportunities will always be there, that you'll start when you're ready. But time is slipping by, whether you act or not. And every day you spend indulging comfort is a day stolen from your future self. Comfort is not harmless. It is the silent killer of dreams. It convinces you to trade long-term fulfillment for short-term ease. And that trade is always a loss, because once comfort becomes a habit, breaking free feels almost impossible. Think about how resistance shows up when you try to leave your comfort zone. You want to work out, but the couch feels easier. You want to start writing, but Netflix is calling. You want to make a change, but your mind whispers, not today. That's not laziness. It's your comfort zone pulling you back in. It's the invisible chain around your ankles. And the only way to break it is to act anyway, to force yourself into discomfort again and again until it becomes your new normal. The irony is that comfort doesn't even give you what it promises. It promises happiness, but leaves you feeling restless. It promises relief, but leaves you with regret. Think about the times you chose comfort over progress. Did you feel fulfilled afterward, or did you feel guilty for putting off what you knew mattered? That's because true satisfaction comes not from comfort, but from growth. Growth is where pride lives. Growth is where you earn self-respect. Growth is where you prove to yourself that you are stronger than the excuses in your head. The gym may be uncomfortable, but the strength and energy you gain are empowering. Studying may be uncomfortable, but the knowledge and mastery you gain expand your opportunities. Having tough conversations may be uncomfortable, but the authenticity and respect you gain build stronger relationships. Discomfort is not punishment. It is the price of progress. Comfort, on the other hand, is the tax you pay on wasted potential. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you must make a choice: comfort or growth. You cannot have both. Comfort will always try to seduce you into mediocrity, while growth will demand that you stretch yourself further than you think possible. The path of growth is harder, yes, but it is also the only path that leads anywhere worth going. So the next time you catch yourself reaching for comfort, stop and ask, what am I trading in this moment? Am I trading long-term pride for short-term ease? Am I trading my potential for temporary relief? If the answer is yes, then you know what you must do. You must choose discomfort. You must choose the harder path. You must force yourself to step into the place where growth happens, even when every part of you wants to stay where it's safe. Because here's the truth. Comfort may feel good now, but it will cost you later. Discomfort may feel hard now, but it will reward you later. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret is permanent. And when you look back at your life, you will not remember the nights you were comfortable. You will remember the times you pushed, stretched, and overcame. Those are the moments that define you. So, don't make comfort your friend. Make it your enemy. Recognize it when it whispers in your ear, and fight against it. Because the more you choose discomfort, the more alive you will feel. And the more you push yourself out of the safe and the easy, the closer you get to the life you've always wanted. Comfort may be tempting, but it will never lead you anywhere worth going. Growth will. And growth only lives on the other side of discomfort. Grit is not something you are born with. It is not a trait reserved for a select few who are naturally tougher or stronger than everyone else. Grit is built, layer by layer, through the choices you make and the actions you repeat. It is like a muscle weak at first, But with training and repetition, it becomes unbreakable. The people you see who seem unshakable in the face of challenges are not different from you. They simply learn to endure, to push, to keep going, not once or twice, but again and again until persistence became part of who they are. The power of repetition is underestimated. People often think greatness comes from a single bold move, one dramatic leap that changes everything. But the truth is far less glamorous and far more demanding. Greatness is built through small, repeated actions. Those daily choices to keep showing up even when you don't want to, even when progress feels invisible, even when you are tired of waiting for results. Repetition transforms difficulty into discipline and discipline into grit. Think about learning any skill, whether it's playing an instrument, lifting weights, or mastering a new language. The first time you try, it feels awkward, frustrating, even hopeless. But when you repeat the action, something changes. The notes start to sound smoother, the weights feel a little lighter, the words begin to flow more easily. That improvement doesn't happen because you suddenly became more talented. It happens because repetition carved the skill into your mind and body. Grit works the same way. Every time you force yourself to act despite resistance, you are teaching yourself that you can endure discomfort, and the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Repetition builds resilience because it removes the drama from effort. The first time you do something hard, it feels monumental. The second time, still tough. But by the 10th, the 20th, the 50th time, it's no longer a mountain. It's just part of your routine. The discomfort hasn't disappeared. You've simply grown strong enough to carry it without hesitation. That strength is grit. It's not about eliminating struggle. It's about becoming so familiar with struggle that it no longer intimidates you. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Anyone can push hard for a day. Anyone can show up, once with fire in their heart. But grit is not proven in the moments of excitement. It is proven in the quiet, repetitive grind of showing up day after day, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when the results are still invisible. That's where the separation happens between those who dabble and those who dominate, between those who quit and those who conquer. Repetition doesn't just strengthen your body or sharpen your skills. It rewires your identity. Every repeated action casts a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. Each time you push through resistance, you're not just finishing a workout or writing a page. You're reinforcing the belief that you are someone who doesn't quit. And that belief compounds over time. Eventually, you stop questioning whether you can handle the challenge, because your actions have already proven it to you hundreds of times. Grit is not built in extraordinary moments. It's built in the ordinary ones. The mornings you get up on time, the evenings you practice when you're tired, the times you choose discipline over distraction. These small, repeated decisions may not feel powerful in the moment, but they are shaping your future self in ways you cannot yet see. And when life throws its inevitable storms your way, you will discover that you are ready, not because you suddenly became strong in that moment, but because you have been preparing for it every day through repetition. The world is filled with people who started strong and faded fast. They got excited, they made a plan, they began with energy, but they didn't repeat. They wanted instant results. And when results didn't come quickly, they gave up. That is not grit. Grit is deciding that you will keep showing up, no matter how long it takes. Grit is staying the course when motivation is gone. Grit is trusting the process, even when the results are invisible. And the only way to build that is to repeat until it becomes second nature. Ask yourself, what do you repeat every day? Because whether you realize it or not, your habits are teaching you grit or weakness. If you repeatedly give in to excuses, you're building a pattern of surrender. If you repeatedly push through discomfort, you're building a pattern of strength. Every repetition matters. Every choice is a brick in the foundation of your future. The question is, what kind of foundation are you building? The most dangerous lie resistance tells you is that one skipped day doesn't matter, but it always matters. Every missed repetition makes it easier to miss the next. Every time you quit early, You reinforce quitting as an option. That's why grit is not about the grand victories. It's about protecting the little commitments. It's about saying, I will not break this chain of repetition, and holding that line fiercely. Because the chain itself is what makes you strong. There will be days when you feel like you're not improving, when the grind feels endless, when progress is so slow, it feels invisible. Those are the days grit is born. Anyone can continue when results are obvious, but the ones who keep repeating when there's no applause, no visible change, no external reward, those are the ones who eventually break through. Because repetition plus time equals transformation. Grit is not about how you start. It's about how many times you're willing to repeat the act of starting again, no matter how many times you fall. Every repetition is practice not just for the skill, but for your resilience, your patience, your determination. And in the end, grit becomes who you are because you've lived it again and again. So if you want grit, don't look for it in big moments. Don't wait for a challenge to arrive and hope you'll rise to the occasion. Build it now, in the daily grind, in the repeated actions, in the small choices you make when no one else cares. Because when the big test comes, and it will, you won't have to hope you're ready. You'll know you're ready. And you'll know because you've trained for it over and over through the power of repetition. Every single day, you are writing the story of your future. Not with your dreams, not with your intentions, not with your wishes, but with your choices. The life you will live 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will not be a mystery. It will be the result of the decisions you make today, the actions you take or avoid, the habits you build or neglect. Your future is not waiting to surprise you. It is waiting to collect the bill for the choices you are making right now. The hard truth is that most people live as if their future is disconnected from their present. They act as though tomorrow is some separate life where things will magically work out, where they will suddenly have the discipline, the courage, the opportunities they don't have today. But tomorrow is not a new life. It is the continuation of this one. If you don't change now, nothing changes later. If you don't act now, there is no act in the future. Your life will not suddenly improve when you wake up one day. It improves when you choose to make it better today. Think about the compound effect of choices. One unhealthy meal doesn't ruin your health, just as one workout doesn't make you fit. But repeated daily, those small choices shape your body, your energy, your confidence. 1 hour wasted in distraction doesn't destroy your potential, but repeated every day, it creates a life of mediocrity. On the other hand, 1 page written today may seem insignificant, but written every day, it becomes a book. 1 conversation today may not transform a relationship, but daily connection builds trust and love that lasts a lifetime. The choices you make today are bricks, and each brick is building the house you will one day live in. The future does not punish or reward you. It simply reflects you. If you are disciplined today, your future will be stronger. If you are careless today, your future will be weaker. It's that simple. You can't plant weeds and expect roses to grow. You can't plant nothing and expect a harvest. Every choice you make is a seed, and the harvest you reap is determined by the seeds you plant right now. Here's the mistake most people make. They think they'll have more time. They believe that the future will be generous, that opportunities will wait, that tomorrow will be kinder. But time does not wait for anyone. You are not promised endless chances. Every day you waste is gone forever. Every opportunity you ignore moves on to someone else. The future belongs to those who act now, who make today count, who refuse to let comfort steal another moment of their life. Consider this: the person you will be in 10 years is watching you right now. That future version of you will either thank you or resent you. Thank you for the sacrifices, the discipline, the courage you chose, or resent you for the excuses, the delays, the comforts you prioritized. You cannot escape this accountability. One day, you will have to live with the results of today's choices. And that thought alone should be enough to wake you up. Think about people who regret their lives. Rarely do they regret what they tried and failed at. More often they regret the chances they never took, the risks they avoided, the time they wasted. Regret is the price of inaction. Regret is the debt you pay when you let today slip by without using it. And the cruelest thing about regret is that it cannot be undone. You cannot go back. You cannot redo. You can only carry the weight of what could have been. That is why today matters so much. Because today is the only place you have power. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every transformation started with a single choice in the present. The choice to begin. The choice to keep going. The choice to not give up. Nothing changes until you decide it will. That decision is not made in the future. It is made now, in the middle of discomfort, in the face of resistance, when excuses are loud and motivation is silent. That is when your future is decided by whether you choose to act or not. The danger is in underestimating today. You think today is just another day, one of thousands, too small to matter. But today is everything. Today is all you ever really have. The future is built out of countless todays, and if you waste enough of them, you waste your entire life. The people who accomplish what others only dream of are not better, smarter, or luckier. They simply used their todays wisely. They treated each day as an investment in their future, rather than an escape into tomorrow. The beautiful thing is that no matter how many todays you've wasted before, you can decide right now to make different choices. You don't need to wait until next week, next month, or next year. You can begin in this very moment. One choice can set a new direction. One choice can change your path. One choice can be the turning point that shifts your future forever. But only if you take it seriously. Only if you understand that your future is being built right now. Ask yourself, what choices are you making today? Are you choosing to build habits that will make your future stronger, or are you indulging in patterns that will weaken it? Are you choosing growth or comfort? Are you choosing to move forward or stay the same? Your answers to these questions don't just define today, they define your life. The future is not uncertain, it is predictable. Look at your actions today, and you will see exactly where you are headed. If you don't like the direction, change it. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because the person you will be is waiting. And that person will either inherit a life you are proud of or a life you regret. The choice is yours, and it always has been. You don't get the life you dream about by waiting. You don't get it by hoping, wishing, or convincing yourself that one day you'll wake up with the motivation to finally act. You get it by forcing yourself into action when it's uncomfortable, by choosing discipline over feelings, by taking small steps that break resistance, by rejecting the trap of comfort, by building grit through repetition, and by remembering that every single choice you make today is shaping the future that will either fulfill you or haunt you. The truth is, greatness doesn't belong to the smartest, the luckiest, or the most talented. It belongs to the ones who refuse to stop, the ones who show up when it's hard, the ones who do the work no matter how they feel, the ones who demand more of themselves even when no one is watching. That can be you. There is nothing standing in your way except the excuses you continue to entertain. So from this moment forward, stop waiting. Stop negotiating with your feelings. Stop choosing comfort over growth. Look at the life you want and understand this. It is not out of reach. It is waiting for you to claim it. But to claim it, you must act. You must push. You must force yourself again and again until the resistance breaks, until discipline becomes natural, until grit defines you, and until your future self looks back and says, "Thank you for not giving up on me." The choice is in your hands right now. Your future is watching. Don't waste another moment. Force yourself to do it, because your life depends on it.